Christian Walker is the gold standard at first base. We just saw Bryce Harper have a scary moment in the previous series with the Atlanta Braves over at first base. So how lucky are we that Walker and Harper are both right-handed throwing first basemen? Both of these guys played first base at some point in their career defensively, RIpken and Jim Thome. So what do we make of these two, Bill? They're very different players at first.
Yes and no. And I think what distinguishes the two is the games played. When you're talking about Walker playing that many games over there, he's used to being around the bag and comfortable. But what I like about what Bryce Harper's able to do, I'll do a little comparison to him. What he does very well is he paid attention to whoever's instructing him about fundamentals and how he's moving his body. Look how he gets going and really covering space and ground on these underhand tosses to the pitcher covering. That's outstanding. It's something that Christian Walker seems to do kind of naturally. And Bryce Harper has this unbelievable athletic ability to start a 3-6 double play. So I think he's going to be okay. Underhand tosses by Christian Walker, he's more used to it. He looks a little bit more easygoing at first base, which I don't necessarily think is the greatest thing, because I do like a little bit of more effort. Now, being able to start the 3-6 double play and keep the first baseman out of the mix is incredible. And I don't think anybody does it as well as Christian Walker. There's a few. Freddie Freeman's good. Matt Olson's really good at doing it. But what I like about that, and my one thing about reps at first base, I didn't play that much over here. But when you get over here, you have to understand one thing. Catching ground balls is one thing. Main job of a first baseman. If we just did simple math, if there's 4 infielders, and I know it doesn't quite work this way, but think about 25% chance I get the ball, 25%, 25%, 25%.
Right.
Means 75%, right, I need to be the target at first base.
Yeah.
And that's the area where I think you need to work hard at over here, because I think that's the last thing to come. And my whole thought process about playing first base was, I got to look at my shortstop. And I go, if he goes in the hole, backhands it, I have to be set up properly to be the target. I can't be on the move. I can't be late. I need to get point A to point B, because my job and the value of me is going to be able to handle throws around this bag. So I think that's the only difference, is when you play this position, I love the fact when he does his underhand toss, he's very deliberate. And it's sturdy, and there's this effort that comes into play.
Oh, he's got effort.
His athleticism, when he started that 3-6 double play, that's not easy. And he did that like that. The thing is, how do we receive throws from our off infielders and make everything happy, shall we say? Because
we got to keep
that's
him on the field,
thing.
too. That's the key.
One of the things I learned going from third base to first base, and I was in an infield with amazing infield,
no doubt,
with Robbie Alomar, Carlos Baerga, Vizquel, Matt Williams, Travis Fryman. You know, for me, when I came over here, it was exactly what you said. Like, I had to learn, I always peeked over of where Robbie was. First of all, he got to a lot of, so, you know, if I was off of the line, if I was off the bag here, I couldn't be too aggressive to my right. But I always wanted to make sure, to Bill's point, that I was at first base set up and ready to go. If you're fighting to get here, all of a sudden, and then you're turning, and then boom, the ball's on, like, that's very
uncomfortable. The play where
uncomfortable.
Olson hit the elbow of Bryce Harper, if you watch that playback, Bryce starts to go get it. He goes into the hole. Bryson Stott's taking, it's his ground ball. But take a look at this. You see Harper, now look how far away he is. Stott's waiting for him to get there.
Right.
So in a perfect world, would you see how he's waiting? And that's probably makes it more difficult for you as a second baseman.
Well, in the perfect world, you want a first baseman that does want to be aggressive. And then all of a sudden, because it's better to be able to pull him back than push him forward. And I think he will learn that. He hasn't been at first base that long. And as Jim said, if you take a little peek and you see where that's bounded, you can get away with a jab, maybe. But you can't take 2 or 3 that way.
Right.
But he's very aware of what's going on, because if you notice, he's waving the pitcher off. I don't want you involved. So when he started to sprint, he's going, no, go, 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 I got it.
Yep.
And then Stott waited. Now, I liked how everything happened. It got a little iffy at the end on a kind of a collision at second. But the idea is understanding where this guy's playing, who's your friend. But the number one priority for me as a first baseman is he has got to establish himself as a target, a good target, every single day. And if something sneaks by over here every now and then, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I really am. I need to be a target there because then you're allowed to pick more balls in the dirt when you're set up at the bag right.
And do you know why we're okay with it? Because the one thing you'll say about Bryce Harper's defense at first, man, can he hit. And here are the guys he'll be hitting in Game 1 and Game 2.